Well, good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to our Furman Football Weekly with head coach Clay Hendricks. The Paladins coming off the bye week, and this Saturday will open Southern Conference play at Samford. We will have all of the broadcast information for you coming up a little bit later on in the press conference. But joining coach today are quarterback Trey Hedden and defensive back Talon Blaylock. We'll ask Coach Clay Hendricks, as always, to open us up with a statement, and the erstwhile Scott Keeler will get the opportunity to ask the first question this week.
Hey, thank you, Dan. Certainly great to be back with you after the bye week. Bye week was really good for us. I always kind of felt byes are good when you need one, and we needed one desperately. We were a beat-up football team, and I had some really good work in. I thought we got a little better last week, tried to get healthy. Obviously, we'll go out there today on Tuesday. We stuck to a pretty normal schedule this week, even though we're a little bit ahead as we get ready for our opener at Samford. And I think through 3 games, I think we've played a little better each week. Probably played our most complete game, which is what you'd like to see. I think certainly lots of room for growth and development. But I think we're in a good spot heading into our conference play. I think certainly been in 3 really tough football games. So I feel like I kind of know a little bit who we are, both offensively and defensively. And also I think you know what your challenges are, know what you have to be better at. So that's what we try to focus on. And again, the break was good, but we're excited to go open conference play in Birmingham.
Trey, obviously you had a big day against Campbell, and apart from all the obvious stats, I thought the biggest thing was their turnovers. And they're like on the first touchdown pass, you had to kind of hold it a little bit while Jackson got open. Sometimes it's hard to know exactly when to release. I know you sometimes hold it too long to lead the turnovers. Can you just tell me how you balance that out and how, take me through that play maybe and how you are able to kind of, what's the trick to balance out? Hold it too long versus hold it long enough for guys to get out?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously you don't want to ever look at the rush, or you're just trying to feel it. So, I think the more football that I've played, the more snaps I've taken to feel it, it's gotten easier. And then, especially in a game where, the guys are protecting so well, you're a little bit more confident to hold on to it and hang on while, Jackson came wide open as he crossed over the middle. So, just letting that happen and then, feeling it out. I think the more football that I've played, the better and easier it is to feel. Obviously not 100%. There's been times this season where I've gotten his up thrown where, I didn't quite feel as well as I should have, but it's an area that I've continuously tried to improve in my pocket awareness and presence to be able to feel the pressure and, know how long I can hold it versus, needing to get it out.
Taylor, just talk about, you guys have kind of faced 3 different offenses, and I felt like Campbell probably rolled into one was as challenging, maybe more challenging than any one of those. Can you just talk about how that would prepare you going forward in the conference play?
Yeah, Campbell, they were a solid offense. They had a quarterback that knows the system. He was getting the ball out of his hands pretty quick, kind of like what Sanford likes to do, quick games. So seeing that Campbell game definitely helped us prepare down the road. Game was kind of a challenge, but we all stuck together. So I think that's what a lot of these conference games are going to be, gritty wins. So yeah, we're definitely prepared for whatever's thrown at us.
Taylor, I've got a couple questions for you. First, this is your first year at Furman, but you've been through that first year situation a couple times in your career, starting at Sam Houston and then Lindenwood. How has that transition and challenge been for you in such short order to come in, establish yourself, and then how was that first game, getting off to such a great start? First series of the season, you pick off a pass and run it back.
I'm just thankful. My career hasn't been the smoothest. It's been challenges, it's been ups and downs, but just coming in here knowing Coach Hendricks and the guy, like my teammates, have the utmost trust in me, helps me go out there and play fast, not think much, just go be myself and make plays. And it was definitely a surreal moment to start that fast, but just credit everybody around me, credit the preparation that the coaches put us through in practice to prepare us for the moments. So, yeah.
My last question, you're a Houston guy. Not that Birmingham's just the next county over from Houston, but you're 5 hours from Greenville toward Houston. You gonna have some family there this Saturday?
I'm not sure. My family, like, I got a little brother in high school. He plays on Fridays, and then my younger brother that's right above him goes to Oklahoma. So, I mean, they have a pretty packed schedule, but they'll probably have to get out there and see us play.
Coach, Sanford's given up an average of 41 points a game, and they're only scoring 14 points a game. What's your thoughts going into this particular game, knowing that their defense is giving that up with our offense?
Well, I mean, you watch them on tape, they played a really challenging schedule. Played Baylor, played, a Western team that's, I'm sure will be one of the top offensive teams in the country, even with a quarterback only back for 1 week. They've been scoring points. West Georgia team's undefeated. And I think a lot of that's been because of turnovers. Now, they'll turn over 5 times against us. I kind of like that too. I don't think you can count on that. But I think they're kind of one you see. They played the best game they played the other night. They did give up some plays, but I got a pretty short memory from a year ago. We played Western out here, and we played against them. So every game's its own little entity. I do think, as Hunter said there, I think playing the Campbell, a lot of similarities as far as what they try to do. I think the two quarterbacks are similar. I think, the Campbell guy really hurt us. I mean, you look at what did we not do well? Well, we didn't contain the quarterback very well. We certainly did pressure him some. We got him on the ground, obviously got him on the ground when we needed to. But man, how many third down, we weren't very good at getting off the field. I think they were maybe 2 or 4 fourth downs. He kept a bunch of plays alive and dumped it off to people that turned into big plays for him. This Critton he's that kind of guy. So I think some of the things that hurt us are some of the things that they do. They want to go fast, and Coach Hatcher's had a long track record of really good offenses and potent offenses. And again, you can kind of see them get a little bit better. I think I saw some stat. They only had maybe one. I think quarterback's the only returning starter from a year ago. We didn't play him a year ago. And then defensively, they've been put in some tough spots. They've been put in some tough spots. They've had some scores, special team scores against them, some different things. I think each game's a little different. I'm sure we'll see. We'll see a different group that's there that we go there and play this week too.
Coach, this is for you and Taylon. A good pass rush can cure a lot of ills. And while there were some points in that Campbell game that the quarterback did hurt you by extending plays, as you said, you were able to get a lot of pressure on him. And I think when we all saw the film of that last play of the game, when the guy was running free in the end zone, potentially game-winning touchdown, the reason he couldn't get it off is because of your pass rush. Are they getting after the quarterback the way you want them to? That's for you. And then Taylon, how much easier, of course, is it to play DB when the guys are able to rush the passer?
2 games we have, and got him on the ground, like got him on the ground more than we did the last time. 1 game we didn't. The PC game we did get on. A little bit of design, some things they were doing. So I think when we get in those situations, I think it's a little bit of both sides. We got to challenge receivers a little bit more with what's coming out that quick. So I think it kind of goes hand in hand. Yeah, we had a bust on the back end, or necessarily said a bust, but we obviously turned the guy loose. So whatever you want to call it. I think the other thing that's been a little bit interesting is I look back in the 3 games we've had 9 DBs miss games or part of games. 9 of our, we don't really have more than 2 deep group. That's been kind of a crazy number. I'm hoping we're going to have all those guys back. We got a chance to get some guys back that hadn't played at all. So I'm hoping the help is going to help us. Certainly, we've been in 3 tough games. I think we're getting better. Again, I think having, and again, even still being a relatively young group, trying to still figure totally what your identity is. And how people are attacking us offensively and defensively, both sides of the ball. But I would like to see more. Obviously, Joshua Stone King's done a great job there. But I think we got more guys that can and need to. Because if you don't, you know what's going to start happening. you know, he's gonna be double on everything, everybody's gonna slide it that way, and somebody else has gotta win. And I think we've done that, shown it, we just gotta get on the ground a little more than we have.
Yeah, as a DB, a good pass rush definitely makes life much easier. When that front is eating, I mean, it makes our life very easy. But like Coach said, we gotta cover better. I mean, we'll probably, if we cover better matchups, better body on body, we'll probably end up getting even more sacks. We got a really talented front. So I mean, we got some guys healthy off this bye week. So yeah, we're looking to be more combative, get even more pressure up front with that D-line. So.
This question is also for Coach Trey. I think a lot of people may be looking into the season. One of the question marks maybe just because they haven't seen guys before was the wide receiver group. And on Saturday, or 2 Saturdays ago, he had 2 100-yard receivers for the first time in 10 years. That's never happened in the game here. It seems like that group has a lot of similar talents. They can make something happen if they catch it, a short pass of a big one, or can also go deep. Coach, can you kind of describe what that group has done this year so far? I know it's still 3 games in. And Trey, what's it been like to develop chemistry with all those guys?
Well, I'll say this, I mean, I think I've said several times in the preseason, I knew that was a really talented group, they just continue to make plays. And, you know, I think for us, and we had a couple guys, you know, hopefully we get Harris back, Chris Smith, and then hopefully get those guys back, and then certainly the tight ends, what they bring to the game. But I think the best thing for me, I mean, Furman, you look at the history of who Furman, the offensive, you know, we certainly teams want to run football, we still want to do that, we've got to be better there. I think we're close in that area, but I also think we've shown the ability, people that are going to, you know, pack the box against us, which we've seen for a couple of weeks, and so it's a little bit of taking a little bit of time to figure out, you know, what exactly, you know, we want to do. But I think the biggest thing, proving, you know, certainly Trey, and the level he's played at, has shown that, okay, you're gonna put them all up there, then we gotta take advantage of the matchups we have back there. So I think that's kind of been the biggest focus for us. It's a little bit, you know, the old saying, you know, take what they give you. You know, but when people do that, you gotta be good enough to win one-on-ones and throw and catch and run with the ball. And again, I certainly like the group we've got out there. What they've done, certainly Trey's done a great job to get them the ball.
Yeah, I mean, I think our receiver room is really deep. You say, you know, 2 guys went for 100 yards the first time in 10 years, and I think that there's multiple other guys that are in that room that could do the same as well. So it makes my job a lot easier when you have, you know, 3 or 4 guys in a concept that are winning in their route. So I mean, obviously without the offensive line protecting, the running backs doing a good job in pass pro. You know, they don't get to win. They don't get to the route break and able to win. But yeah, I mean, they've done a great job. Obviously for Keith, I think it's been a long time coming. You know, he's put in a lot of work. Me and him have grown a lot together. First 100-yard game, I think it's a big deal for him. I'm super proud of him. And then obviously Evan's done a really good job, winning his matchups and winning downfield. But there's a lot of other guys, Kerry King, and then Ethan Harris hopefully be back, and both our tight ends that catch the ball downfield are threats. So I think when you have so many guys, it makes it really hard for them to key in on 1 or 2 dudes, and gets us a lot more one-on-one, so we can take advantage of the guys that have good matchups instead of needing to force it to one guy that's you can trust to win. There's a lot of guys like that.
Trey, I asked you this question in Dining Hall the other day, but now for the benefit of our worldwide audience, I'm going to ask you the same question. You've thrown a lot of touchdown passes in your career, high school and college already. Was Evan James the most wide open receiver you've ever thrown to? And were you, just for a split second, think there's no way I can mess this up? That got me I don't want to overthrow him. Have you ever had a receiver that wide open on a pass, on a touchdown pass?
I don't think so. It felt like he had nobody within them. I couldn't even see anybody else. I'm looking that direction, can't even see anybody else. That was pretty insane. But what I had said is that Coach Robe had schemed them up pretty good. We kind of knew what they were in, why we were trying to go a little faster and get lined up and run that play. So we had him one-on-one with that safety, and it really puts him in a bind. You have one-on-one with a safety, with a kid that's been winning all day. with 2 break points, it makes it almost impossible with a safety that's got all that field to cover. So he stuck to the post, and the safety, committed to the post. He really baseball turned to the middle of the field, and then he puts that other foot in the ground, and body kind of goes numb. You're like, these are some of the ones, free throws. Just put it up in space and just make sure that it lands in the end zone for him to practically fair catch it is what happened. So no, he was wide open. He did a great job all day, but yeah, I mean, it makes it real easy when you get guys running wide open like that.
Taylor, can you just talk about both wins this year? It's kind of been a case where the defense has had to make a play, and they have. Can you talk about just the importance of being able to not only kind of say that in the huddle, but be able to go out there and do it?
Yeah, it's super important. I mean, I think we prepare for it every day. I mean, with our practices, going good on good, late in the practice kind of prepares us to not get fatigued in the moments. So as a defense, we're pretty tight. So we all stick together, and I think that's the most important thing, especially when it's crunch time, you need to play. I can look across the field at the far corner, I trust him. I trust he's gonna do his job as 111. So I think that's really what makes those crunch time moments so good for us, is that we all trust each other as a unit. So we're looking to keep that going forward.
Coach, so far this year in 3 games, in the first half, y'all outscored the teams that you play, but in the third and fourth quarters where we've struggled a little bit, have y'all been paying more detail to that in the bye week? Is that something that's a conditioning thing, or just they're changing it up at halftime?
No, I think you certainly pay attention to that, what you do, and I know defensively, Coach talked about the delay, last 4 and a half, first 4 second half, we haven't been very good there at all. We've been really good start games offensively, but no, certainly like to come out in the third quarter. A little tough to Campbell, I think they had the long drive, to start that, we only had 1 possession in the third quarter, which was a touchdown, if I'm correct. But no, that's an area we want to continue to be better at. We want to be good for 4 quarters. And, I thought the first 2 games we were pretty good for probably half the game, and I thought was the most complete game we played. The last time out, I thought we left some points, certainly on the field. We had the reverse pass that, should have been really good, but wasn't, and it didn't turn over. And then the first drive, we go down and get a procedure penalty at the 5-yard line on first down, and we've got to quit doing that. But no, it's something we'll continue to focus on. I don't think we've been in a situation where we felt like we had to make a lot of adjustments. But again, I think after 3 games, you have a pretty good handle on who you are, what you got to do. You got to keep your foot on the gas and keep going, and I think that's what we got to do.
Clay, just as we were sitting down to begin this press conference, the news broke that Oklahoma State is firing Mike Gundy, who's been there forever, 20 years or whatever. And the analysts are touting it as his inability or unwillingness to adapt to the new era of college football. You're somewhat insulated from that. You're not totally, but somewhat insulated. But having said that, as long as you've been doing this, do you have any concerns about overall the profession of being a head football coach?
That's an easy question to answer. Absolutely. I don't. We had a meeting today, a coaches meeting today, just cover a few things. Nothing urgent or anything. We're still. We just found out the transfer portal window now. It's going to be a one window in early January, and they still haven't addressed the grad transfers, how that's going to work, the money that's being paid, and it's just. I can only imagine in a place like that, and I don't know. I think there are places probably I'm familiar, had a friend there, I've been there. T-Boone Pickens, I just spent a whole lot of money facility-wise. But now, there's a lot of people who think facilities don't matter. Let's just take all that money and pay kids. They're trying to rein that in a little bit, but it's kind of sad to see, to be honest with you. I do think FCS football, there's still something unique about it. But I even see it now popping up. And some of the stuff you hear, but you hear from pretty good sources, and so I think the way it's gone at the highest level, I think realistically, how many schools are there? Probably 6 or 8. It's gonna be 6 or 8 about every year to really have a chance. And even in FCS, it's been that way a little bit. I think you give people credit for the job they've done, but I think there's also some huge advantages. And the financial world is a big part of that. So it's not gonna change. I think it's here, there are gonna be some adjustments to it, kind of how you manage it. But you can imagine just in December this year, as they're still trying to figure out the calendar a little bit. So I don't know, I just think I just try to worry about today. We'll worry about tomorrow. It'll have its own problems, But that to me, it still goes back. I love the kids we get to coach here. They value being here. They value the people they're around. I can tell you that just from being here a short period of time. Quality of people's teammates, coaches you get to be around. You get an unbelievable degree. It's going to prepare you for life beyond all the football stuff. But there's certain other things that certainly come into play. And yeah, I hate to see what has happened. But we'll try to control what we can control.
Coach, and one of the, I think it's kind of easy to overlook, but one of the biggest plays 2 Saturdays ago was the 2-point conversion. And later on, Jake Musmith's 1-yard touchdown run, where you get the defensive tackles in there, sleep blockers, and try to get something under center. Beautiful sight for some of us, but
Me too.
But
we've been pretty good in that area.
But yeah, it's not just a gimmick thing where you pitch. There's a reason they're in there, and they did a good job with it. I think the Patriots had a tackle for loss and was in almost 2 scoring plays. Can you speak to that play and what?
Demetrius and Joe Perez. We got several guys. We actually were up about 4 guys over there during the week. We started doing it a little bit a year ago, and I can remember back, when I was back in the 2000s, the things I remember sometimes it's kind of crazy. We had John Kidd. John was a good offensive lineman. He was a long snapper. John was a really good long snapper, but he had this little pre-hitch. And Hunter probably remembers this. People used to jump off sides of our field goal team all the time. And I'm not sure they ever called one on John for a snap infraction. Well, and there's a guy named Jerome Felton around here in those days. So what are you gonna do? Yard and a half and just try to hand it to him, whether you didn't block him real good or not. He was usually gonna score. And certainly I would be sitting there thinking, you got to be able to gain a yard and a half. So what happened? I just thought, where it was in the game. And I think that point ended up being big. I don't know, you talk about chasing points. I remember when they had a chance to chase the point a little bit early in the game and didn't. Which maybe we'd say, shoot, you should. But no, I think that was a big play. And again, we had confidence in what we were doing back there. We got several things we can do out of that, so we got to keep people honest too. But no, I think that was a big play in the game. You think about Coach Spanger told our team. You think about that game. There was 2 big plays. They're both special teams plays. It was that one, and then we had 12 minutes field goal punt. That's stuff we harp on all the time with our people. So I think it's great to have those teachable moments for the players. That you can let somebody else do it. You learn from it. But those are 2 huge plays in the game.
You guys have a cool nickname for that package. I guess generically, I think it's referred to as a jumbo package. But when Sam White, former Furman quarterback, was coaching the Bengals, he called it the Weebies, as in we be gonna score. So do you have
Now try you can tell them.
You have a little cool nickname for that?
We call that the elephant package.
I like it. Anybody else?
I do.
You got one?
Trey, who do you try to model your quarterback, like someone that you look up to and you try to emulate as far as it could be pro or college right now?
Yeah, I think that when you look at guys that are popular in the league right now, that like Josh Allen or Patrick Mahomes, I think that they have a ton of ability, but it's hard for just anybody to go and emulate what they're doing, and it can cause a lot of bad habits for young quarterbacks. So I think that when I'm, trying to model my game, I'm obviously going back to guys like Tom Brady that just manage football games so well, and it's really helped me just improve what I'm doing. I actually did a little bit of a study in the offseason about college quarterbacks that I thought managed football games really well to try and help me improve and where I was struggling. And I thought Dylan Gabriel at Oregon last year did a very good job managing football games and keeping their team out of bad situations. So obviously there's tons of guys that have ability, you know, Patrick Mahomes or Josh Allen, or you know, there's those type of players. Lamar Jackson, who obviously I'm not going to be like anytime soon. But those guys have a ton of ability and a ton of talent, and they manage the football game well too. But you know, they also do some things that 99.999% of quarterbacks are just not going to be able to do. So you have to be able to, you know, win games other ways. So, you know, looking at guys like Peyton Manning or Tom Brady, who just managed the game so well, they understood what everybody was doing. They understood how to attack defenses, and you know, were really good reading their keys and giving the ball out on time and distributing it to their players. I like what Bill Belichick said to Tom Brady one time. You know, you hear an interview, it pops up on my phone. I feel like once a week. It's like, you know, we can't gain a yard until you give the football to somebody else. So, you know, I've been trying to live by that and get the ball out to our guys in space and letting them make plays, just because, you know, that's how we're going to win games, not by me holding it and trying to make plays and run around and throw a sidearm across my body. But, you know, obviously there's some things I can do, but obviously I think that you try and manage the game like some of those old greats did.
Coach, one other guy I wanted to talk about that when I talked to you on Saturday was Luke McCauliffe. First career start, senior, led team tackles, I think, and 2 big plays there at midfield on stop. And I know he's in there for Ryan Earl. That was my next question about injuries and who else might be coming back this week that didn't play last week.
Yeah, no, Ryan's going to be out quite a while. It's not he recovered freak finger injury. We had IBH had it a couple years ago, and it's one of those deals, if you don't fix it, you know, certainly creates all kinds of problems. It's just crazy thing that happened. But Luke's just that guy, you know, just dependable. We talk about dependability. You know, he runs really well. He sees things really well. You know, aggression's not a problem of his. But I just think he's the classic guy that stuck around here for 5 years waiting for his opportunity. He did a heck of a job, you know. Again, just really, really bright guy, loves to play. And I don't know, I think that's a little bit kind of how we are on defense. I think, you know, got good depth. You know, we played a lot of guys. I think we'll continue to be able to do that. But yeah, I can't say good things about the job he's done.
But before we wrap it up, I just want to direct one more question to Taylor, because you're coming into your play in your grad year and having to ingratiate yourself to not just a whole new system, but new coaching staff, teammates. How long did it take you to feel comfortable with all of that? How long do you think it took everybody to feel comfortable with you?
Yeah, so I knew when I took my visit that, Furman was home. It was so easy to click with all the coaching staff and like the players I met on my visit, and then just getting up here, I felt like it took a few days. And I feel like I wanted to come in, I didn't want people to adapt to me, I wanted to adapt to the program. So that also made it a lot easier, just adapting to what everybody does, the tradition. Trying to do everything right and just fit in where I can. And it was pretty easy though. It's a solid program for sure. I'm glad I made the right decision.
And then if anybody's on the fence, a pick 6 on the first drive of the season probably swayed them in your direction, right?
Hopefully.
Coach, final thoughts before we wrap it up?
No, just excited to go play again. You know, you miss a week and you feel like it's been forever since you've been out there. But again, that week was big for us. We practiced 2 days. We ran another day, got in the weight room, again, just tried to get healthy. And obviously got a little ahead of the game with Sanford. You know, this week certainly conference play. I think I've looked around. I've tried to watch a little bit of everybody, and there's absolutely no reason why we can't be as good as anybody in our league, and that's our goal, is to go win a conference championship. Certainly love to go 1-0. That's just kind of our goal for the week.
Well, we'll just remind you that kickoff in Homewood, Alabama, in the shadows of Birmingham, is 3:30 Eastern on Saturday. That'll be an ESPN Plus broadcast. The radio version of events will begin with the Pepsi Countdown to kickoff at 2 p.m. on the Fan Upstate. We look forward to having you join us on the broadcast. If you can't make the trip, we know there will be a nice little purple contingency down in Birmingham as the Paladins open conference play on Saturday at Sanford. Thanks to Coach Clay Hendricks, Trey Hedden, Taylor Blaylock, and for all of us here at Furman, I'm Dan Scott saying God bless you. So long, everybody.